again, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to play Miss Americana and the Heartbreak Prince on the guitar. I wanted to give a special shout out to my patrons on my Patreon page for voting on this song as this month's patron pick, so if you want a little bit of voting power in the order that you see me teach all of Taylor's songs, make sure to check it out. I will link it down below. Here's a quick overview of everything I'll be covering in this tutorial today, and with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Alright guys, so you only need to know 3 different chord shapes to play through this entire song, and we're going to start with our B minor, which looks like this and sounds like this. And by the way, if you don't know how to read these chord charts you're seeing on screen, I do cover how to do that in my free beginner series right here on YouTube, so make sure to check that out right here. The next chord shape is our A major. And then the last chord you need to know is your G major. And those are the only 3 chords you need to know to play through this song. So go ahead and pause the video and take as much time as you need to really memorize these chord shapes and practice transitioning back and forth between them, because it'll make learning the rest of the song so much easier for you. And if you're somebody who's currently struggling with bar chord shapes, I do have a mini series on my other channel, Forever Faithful, that you can check out to help you with those. But once you have these chords under your belt, then we can go ahead and talk about the strumming I would suggest for this song. Alright guys, so as I always say, if you are brand new to playing guitar, or you're somebody who struggles with playing guitar while singing at the same time, the first thing I would suggest doing is to bring up this song and go ahead and go through the entire thing with just a single down strum on every chord change as you sing through this song. And you want to take this time to really get used to what word or what syllable you're on whenever those chords are changing. So here's a quick example of what that would look like. You know I adore you, I'm crazier for you than I was at 16, lost in a film scene. Alright, so that's just a really quick example, but you would essentially want to do that for the entire song and just really make sure you know where those chords are going to be changing. And this is actually something you do right now if you check out my Patreon page. I do have this entire guide available to download and print out, so I'll make sure to leave that link in the description box for you. But once you have this under your belt, then we can go ahead and add to it to do more of a full strumming pattern that you can use for this song. Alright guys, so for strumming for this song, I do have a couple of different options, but let's go ahead and start with the easier of the two. As you can see on screen, we're going to be counting this in an 1/8 note count, so it's just going to sound like this. We have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and down, up, mute, down, up, mute. Alright, super simple, and basically you could play this twice per chord through the verses, and then you're going to switch down to once per chord for the pre-choruses, but let me go ahead and just kind of show you how that comes together. So if you look at verse 1, we're starting here on our B minor chord. You would play this twice, so we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So on the 3rd beat, I'm just taking my hand and slapping the strings to stop them from ringing. Alright, and you'll notice as you play it with the song, it lines up with that drum beat pretty well. So again, on B minor, we have down, up, mute, twice. Then you go to your A chord, same thing, down, up, mute, twice. Then you have G, back to A. Alright. And that's as simple as it is. Let me go ahead and put some lyrics in there so you can hear how it sounds together. You know I adore you, I'm crazier for you than I was at 16, lost in a film scene, waving homecomings, marching band playing, lost in the lights. Alright, the good news is if you like this strumming pattern, just the down up mute, you could play it through the whole song. It actually sounds pretty good. One option I wanted to show you guys is if you do want to play like this more simple strumming pattern throughout, the other thing you can do is on the 4th beat and the and of the 4, you can add an extra down and up. Okay, so instead of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, you would go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. 1 and 3, 4 and. Down, up, mute, down, up. Alright, it's just a way to make it more full sounding. So it's very much like the strumming pattern we just went through. I'm just adding that extra down and up strum at the end. And I would recommend doing this for the pre-chorus as we ramp up into the chorus. So in the pre-chorus, it would sound like this. No cameras catch my pageant smile. I counted days, I counted miles to see you there, to see you there. Alright? So again, totally optional. I'm just adding that extra down up on the 4 and the and counts if you wanted to do that. But like I said, I actually have a more full strumming pattern that I like to use for the choruses. So let me go ahead and jump into strumming pattern 2. All right guys, so for the second strumming pattern, I actually have 2 measures listed on screen. So that's what that line in the middle is. It's like one measure to the other measure. And so basically what we're gonna do is we're sticking with that 8th note count, but we're gonna count this through 2 measures, okay? So it's gonna sound like this. We have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. All right, it's a lot more to kind of take in, so definitely pause if you need to. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1 and 2, 3, 4 and. So both of these measures are going to be, grouped together throughout, okay? And so because we're playing 2 measures, you do want to change chords where that split is between the first and the second measure. So let's go ahead and take a look at the chorus so you can get a better understanding of what I mean. From here, we're going from G to B minor to A. So on the G and B minor, we want to change chords right at that vertical line to separate the measures. So on G, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and. Switch to B minor and finish out the second measure. 1 and 2, 3, 4 and. Okay, so again we've got G, B minor. All right. Then on the A chord for the chorus, you would play both of these measures. So on A we have 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1 and 2, 3, 4 and. All right. If you've watched any of my other tutorials, you might find this pattern to be pretty familiar. It's because normally we count this in a 16th note count, but for this song, we are just splitting it up into 2 measures with 2 8th note counts. If that doesn't make any sense or you're confused, like just totally ignore it. This is just the count. I will link a practice with me strumming video that goes over this exact pattern. Basically on the chorus, we've got G, down, 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 up, B minor, some piece of advice is on that last up strum in the first measure, you can actually, so let's say you're on your G chord, you can actually let go of your chord shape and start making your transition into that B minor on that up strum. So we have, like if you just strum the lower strings, it sounds pretty good, and this will go by so fast that the listener won't be able to tell, but you can actually take that upbeat in the first measure to make that transition to B minor, so you have a little bit of extra time to make that transition. And when you start to slowly speed up this pattern, you won't even hear that transition because we'll be going a little bit quicker. So more at full tempo, it'll sound like this. We've got G to B minor to A. It's you and me, that's my whole world. Whisper in the hallway, she's a bad, bad girl. Rolling big dice, play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. All right. So that's the strumming pattern I would recommend for all of the choruses as well as the first half of the bridge. Basically, I just think it sounds more full and it kind of gives the listener somewhere to go to with their listening. We're going to be building up our guitar part as we get into the chorus. So that's why I would recommend starting with that more simple pattern and then adding that extra down strum. And then when we get to the chorus, we're gonna full out do the full strumming pattern. All right, so that's just my suggestion. Like I said, if you prefer that first strumming pattern that's a little easier to count, you could totally do that for the entire song, and I think that sounds pretty good. But those are my suggestions for how to strum this song. All right, guys, so again, go ahead and pause the video and take as much time as you need to really practice these strumming rhythms. If you are somebody who is struggling with the count of that second rhythm where we're doing 2 different measures, I do have a practice with me series where we go over the strumming pattern and build up the speed of it in real time together, so I'll make sure to link that in the corner if you need it. But once you get these strumming rhythms under your belt, then we can go ahead and put everything we've learned together to play through the song. You know I adore you, I'm crazier for you than I was at 16. Lost in a film scene, waving homecomings, marching band playing, lost in the lights. American glory faded before me. Now I'm feeling. Want to have fun jamming out to the rest of this song with me? Then make sure to check out my Patreon page where you can unlock access to this as well as all my other Swiftie sing-along guitar tutorials. I've covered so many of her songs from all the different albums and eras, so if you're somebody who loves to play Taylor's songs on the guitar, I would definitely recommend checking it out. I will link it in the description box down below. If you enjoyed learning this song with me, then you should definitely check out this video. Not only does it have a super similar vibe and feel, but it's just as fun and easy to play, so I'll see you over there.